top 10 list of things you can do at home to improve your own impact on the environment, both while you're in quarantine, but also putting in systems in place so that afterwards you're also having a slightly less harmful impact on the environment at large. So the first thing that I would recommend that you do is to organize a good recycling center in your home. So what we have in the kitchen is a separate bag for plastics and cans, and one for glass, and a box for cardboard, and another for refundables, and of course our garbage and our compost. And this just makes it easier when you do have something to throw it in the right bin, and that you don't have to sort it out later, depending on what kind of recycling system you have in your city. This is something you can get the kids involved in if you have kids at home, to make it interesting, color-coded. And it would be a great time to also research what type of recycling does exist in your municipality, what things can and cannot go in each type of recycling bin. Plastics, for instance, it's not every plastic that can go in, many can't. And it's a good use of 10 minutes of your time to just Google what can be recycled or not in your municipality and share that with other members of your household. Also, perhaps to map out where other things can be returned that wouldn't normally be recycled. There are battery exchanges, things for used medication, where you can bring old appliances, etc. Most municipalities will have something available for each of these that doesn't get picked up at the roadside. And now would be a great time to do that research, or if you have older kids at home, to get them to do that. Second, and related, would be to set up a household compost bin if you haven't already done this. It's more difficult, of course, if you don't have municipal compost or if you don't have your own yard. We do have municipal compost here, so we luckily can truck it down to the end of the street every couple of months, and we collect it in a big bin to make it easier, and we only have to do it once in a while. But something I'd like to do is to set up a keyhole garden on the balcony one of these days. Google that if you don't know what it is, but essentially it's creating a small garden where your compost bin is in the middle of it, and the nutrients of the composting, vegetable scraps, etc., feed directly into the garden. So it kind of creates a constant cycle of new nutrients entering into the soil. Number 3 would be to focus on the 3 R's, especially the first: reduce. It's reduce, reuse, recycle. Those aren't even. Reducing is the thing that we should try to focus on. And take a gander at those things that you own and the things you buy regularly, and do a determination of what of those things actually bring happiness into your lives, and what you thought would, but maybe something that you should spend a little bit less money on, and thus less energy and resources and transportation, etc., has to go into getting whatever product that is into your hands and into your home. Number 4 would be an energy audit of your house. You can do this, of course, through the professionals, but you can also do a quicker, more basic one through yourself, where you look at the light bulbs you're using, see if you're using LED light bulbs and if you can switch those out into more energy efficient ones. Look at what part of your house you can maybe insulate a bit better. If you're renting, like myself, you might not put a lot of investment into this type of thing, but you might talk to your landlord if you feel there's something that is lacking, or you can do something very basic like we did and repair any leaks that might be occurring in terms of weather stripping in your doors or windows, which can have a big impact for only a few dollars spending on weather stripping from the hardware store. If it's still cold where you are, you might even want to tape some of those up for the remaining month, and see where your home is leaking, and thus where you could prevent further energy loss. Similarly, we hung up these blinds about a week ago now, that we ordered from IKEA for like €6 a piece or something really ridiculous. And what they do is they stop the sun from coming in this wall in the early morning, shining here on the table and making it difficult to do our work. But that also reduces energy costs in terms of air conditioning during the summer. So this is something to think about, is to set up blinds in those windows that receive the most sunlight, so that you're not spending electricity on air conditioning that you don't need to. A blind can be way more effective, way cheaper per dollar spent in terms of reduction in energy. You might also want to look at phantom appliances. So that's a term that's used for electricity that is still being used by things even though they're turned off. For instance, your computer or your wireless router or a stereo system. These are things that actually drain on your energy even though they're off, as long as they're plugged in. So for things that you don't use all the time, you might want to just unplug them or put them in a power bar which has an off switch on it, something easy so that you're not burning electricity when you don't need to be. Similarly, an adjustable thermostat or smart lighting or smart appliances are other areas that you might want to look into, where for a couple bucks spending, you can save yourself quite a few in the future. Similar, number 5 on the list would be to do a water audit. This one is a little bit quicker, but to take a look at where you're using the most amount of water in your household. Often this is washing your car, in which case there are ways, or watering your lawn. There are ways to reduce your water and being smarter about it, using a bucket as opposed to having the hose running the whole time when you're washing the car. For the lawn, if you do need to sprinkle it, then to do so in the evening hours, for instance, when it's not going to be mostly lost through evaporation. And for those of us who live in apartments without those type of water usage, then for the most part it's showers. Showers, a 10-minute versus a 12-minute shower per day makes a huge difference in the long run. And nobody should be taking 10-minute showers to begin with. In 5 minutes you can get everything done and clean and out. And the easiest way to make sure that your showers are reasonable and thus you're spending less money on hot water through your electricity usage or natural gas usage, depending what your hot water heater is, would be to set up a small shower timer. And just for a week or so, just look at how long you are in the shower and then maybe make a decision to reduce that time. Multiply it by 365 to find out what difference that would make over a year, and then decide if that's worthwhile for you or not to reduce the amount of time perhaps that you are showering. You could also look at low flow toilets or taps or other items while doing this water audit to see where maybe you can reduce your usage of water in home. Number 6 would be to look at some films or charities or public events in the future when these are held that could educate you a bit and perhaps help you help the environment. I'll put a link below, once I figure out how to do this when I post this video, to 100 interesting movies to watch while you're in quarantine that look at some interesting stories around environmental and other global improvements. Number 8 on the list would be some larger scale renovations that you might want to start thinking about. As we go into a recession, that actually makes everything a little bit cheaper for those of us who do have some capital to spend, because labor prices go down, other people are out of work, so especially manual labor sometimes can get a bit cheaper, which has been very expensive lately to hire contractors. Materials also can also see price reductions during a recession. So it's a good time to think about maybe improving your own home for the future in terms of those large scale insulation type installments, putting in solar panels or other renewable electricity hardware, looking at a tankless water heater or better windows or doors. Be a time to look at those things that in the long run could save more money than they cost in the shorter run. Sometimes it would take only 2 to 3 years to pay back in terms of energy savings, smaller renovations for your home. Number 9 would be cleaning. Most things in your home can be cleaned with a simple combination of baking soda and or bleach and or hydrogen peroxide, vinegar. Just be very careful which ones of these you mix. Some of them can be very poisonous, but it's easy to find resources online that teach you what cleaning products you can easily make at home using much more environmentally friendly sources. Vinegar, baking soda, etc. have no negative impact on the environment, are very cheap, and only take a minute or 2 to learn how to use, and you've set yourself up for years of savings, both in terms of environmental impact, but also financially. And finally, number 10 is eco-travel. We're all pretty much stuck traveling very short distances at the moment. At some point in time, we will get out of this, at which point we will hopefully be able to travel a bit more outside of our immediate neighborhood. And it'd be a great time to reflect on how you could maybe make your travel a bit greener in the future, to look at maybe staying closer to home, how many exciting things are nearby as opposed to hopping on a flight that goes halfway across the world. Looking at more sustainable transportation options, taking the train instead of the car, maybe doing a bike vacation or a hiking vacation or canoeing. There's so many fun ways to do things where you don't have to go as far and where you're getting some exercise, you're benefiting yourself at the same time. This can be done with the whole family, of course, going camping, as opposed to in large hotels that require wastage through the buffet and energy usage and cleaning your sheets every day and who knows what else. You can really reduce your footprint through your travel by doing some research on things that you might like that don't require resource-intensive cruise ship, which are also dangerous these days because there's a good chance you'll get a virus in them, or flights or other things that use a lot of environmental resources. So that's my top 10 of things that you can look at to improve your environmental footprint while you're on quarantine. And I hope that this top 10 will help you, like the others, to make you happier, healthier, and more productive during your quarantine. Please do share any comments or feedback in the comment section below, and hit the like button if you don't mind, and do subscribe.